Hello, everyone, and welcome to Pro Wrestling Inside and Out. We are all just up in arms on this program. If you wasn't at our live show, if you hadn't seen our live show, you got to go back and see that. That would be August 23rd, 2021. Watch our live show, 7:30, questions and answers show. I think you'll enjoy it. I think it was an interesting show. By the way, none of us agreed with each other.
Everybody had a good time except for that one guy.
Sometimes that happens.
Well, I get it. If it wasn't that AEW looked to me like they were going right down the same path of Turner, and I was there for that. And it looks identical, the same path. Who do they get? WCW. Who do they pull over? Hulk Hogan. All right, same exact thing. If they pulled over CM Punk, same exact thing.
Well, today we're going to pull over Georgia Championship Wrestling. Let's pull over to Georgia Championship Wrestling, and let's talk a little bit about. I'm going to show you some programs, and I believe there was, if I remember correctly, this was from Mickey Mayfield, wasn't it? Mickey Mayfield is the one that gave us these program things. I believe that he is the one that gave it to him, and so we're going to go back and look at some of these. Let's start with this photograph right here from the Ringsider. I believe it's 1977. It's a special Thanksgiving episode. Can this pair, Wrestling 2 and Dick Slater, go against Stan Hansen and Ole Anderson? Now, I believe this was probably part of the Thanksgiving Tag Team Tournament. Did they start it yet? Had that been started yet, Rodney?
There were several during that time. This is probably when Ole and Stan were the Georgia Tag Team Champions, I would think, though. I'm thinking. Oh, 77, no Stan Hansen would have been the Georgia Heavyweight Champion at that time. So
I love that.
Not sure.
By the way. I always loved
awesome.
It. Here we go. No love lost here. Wrestling 1 against Dick Slater. It looks like this was 1970. Was that 1977 as well?
Yeah. Yeah, well, Slater, I think, did his turn right in 77, or as many a turn. Did his one of many. But this one was when he and Dusty went against Ole and Gene.
All right, so here's
this was before that.
Here was the champions at the time. Terry Funk was world heavyweight champion, the North American champion Bill Watts, Georgia Tag Team champions Mr. Wrestling 1 and 2, Georgia heavyweight champion Dick Slater.
Yeah.
And then they told you to watch Georgia Championship Wrestling every week on television, but it really didn't tell you where to go.
This was because they're using the same program in all these other places. Well, they should have put where they could have seen it.
Yeah, on some of the programs they did later on. They had a list of Augusta, Columbus, Macon.
Maybe they were preempted that week.
That could have been. There's the Ringsider right there. Hold that empty space up at the top and at the bottom as well. The Ringsider.
That's where they were going to put Brett Sawyer's accomplishments.
Brett, I love you, man. I don't know what's wrong with Jack. I don't know what. I think we're just in a bad mood on this while we're doing these programs. I think we've been just nasty to everybody. So we'll apologize to people. Jack said he apologized.
Everything I've said was in the nicest possible way.
Buzz and Brett form an exciting winning team. This could be the year of the Sawyers. That's when they did the thing with Brett. He was actually Brett Wayne. He gets beat up by the Road Warriors on television, doesn't he?
Yes, it was a slow buildup though, because Buzz was already taking him and yanking him out of the ring when things started to get heated up.
Buzz was over at that time when he turned. I mean,
Yes.
He was over. Wasn't in the shape that he was when he first came to Atlanta.
And the thing about it is the Road Warriors were as well at this time. And so who would be better to go against the Road Warriors than Buzz Sawyer?
Because they knew Buzz Sawyer was kicked to hell. By the way, Buzz and Brett Sawyer did beat, when we talk about the Road Warriors, they did beat the Road Warriors, by the way.
Yes.
So when people say they didn't do jobs, they did it. Yes, they did.
And I think they did it several times from what we remember.
Yeah.
From where we reviewed it.
Yeah, so they did do that. I don't know where that's come up with. We talked about it. If you've not watched the Road Warrior video, I think it was part 1 or 2. They did sell for people and all that. I don't know where that came from. I really don't. There we got Tommy Rich and Tito Santana Arriba in this program here. Well, Tommy looks like his eyes look dark in that photograph, don't they? Tommy
That
Rich.
was because of a flash, it looks like to me. Because of that. Had the bright lights on the set and then a flash, I think.
Could have powder in his eyes too.
That could.
No, I'm not going to edit it out, but that was good.
Baby powder.
Oh, that's right. That's it. Here is the Wild Samoans with Sonny King. They forgot to put Sonny King over there.
Yes.
By the way, he called him the Wild Samoan. Never put the S on the end of that. Sonny King did. Sonny King
had style. Sonny had style.
He would in Southeastern wrestling. He would say Arns Andersons. And then where there was supposed to be S with Jerry Stubbs, he put Jerry Stubb. I think he did all that on purpose.
That was his gimmick.
That was his gimmick.
And the lollipop. He had the little sucker at the sucker table.
Tremendous. What did you think about Sonny King, Jack?
Oh, I love Sonny King. I thought he was awesome.
He was just a great. And, people talk about, that he wasn't a great professional wrestler, but man, the man could get over. He knew how. The punches that he would throw, just tremendous.
Yeah, the best we saw was in Mid-South. The best we saw was Mid-South. Sonny was on top of his game at that point.
There we see the Iron Sheik. USA, Pooey. I've always liked him too.
He could stir a crowd up better than I've ever seen anybody Sheik.
He could. Here we go now, a different time frame. The World Heavyweight Champion, Ric Flair, the National Tag Team Champions, the Fabulous Freebirds. Evidently, that was only Terry Gordy and Michael Hayes. There was no Buddy Roberts in that picture. Was he already gone by then?
No, this was later when they had broke up and then they came back.
Oh, they came back. That's right.
And this would probably be the program in which they had the national champions against the World Tag Team Champions with the Freebirds against Ole Anderson, Stan Hansen.
The National Heavyweight Champion, Paul Orndorff. Here is the card for the Omni on Sunday, August 15th. Tom Pritchard. They spelled his name right on this one. Tom Pritchard against, Tom Pritchard might have been doing these at the time. He might have been the one that set all this stuff up because he did work the office for a while doing some stuff. Tom Pritchard against Terry Gibbs. Buzz Sawyer against Tito Santana. The Iron Sheik against Brad Armstrong. Super Destroyer against the Junkyard Dog. Magnificent Morocco against Leroy Brown. The Superstar against Ron Fuller. Great match, by the way. That's the night that Ron Fuller hit him with that big drop kick, and the people went nuts. I think it was only about an 8-minute match, but it was a tremendous match. We were there for that. World Heavyweight Championship, Ric Flair versus Paul Orndorff, and the Freebirds against Ole Anderson and Stan Hansen. And I do not remember what happened in the match. Do you remember that, Rodney?
The Freebirds actually won.
They beat Ole Anderson.
They walked out with the belt, but it was supposed. It was a whole convoluted thing where the World Tag Team Championship versus the National Tag Team Championship, and then when the Freebirds won, they walked out with the belts, and then they got on television and said it was only an exhibition match between the tag team champions. And we're like, "What are you talking about? We got in the car." And I said, "Okay, what does that mean? Does that mean the Freebirds?" Because I asked Dad, "Does that mean the Freebirds will be going over to Charlotte and defending the belts over there?" And he said, "Oh no, they walked out with the belts, but they're not the champions. It was an exhibition match." Like, you gotta be kidding me.
Now, I remember, I think it was Freddie Miller. It could have been Ron Allen, but I think it was Freddie Miller that said this match is for the NWA World Tag Team Championship.
Yes, they did. It was playing. It was
what happened.
Yeah, it was some kind of, I don't know what you'd call that, but yeah, we got TV and they were Ole Anderson, Stan Hansen were the champions again.
But really the highlight of the night was Ron Fuller against the Superstar. It was a highlight of the whole
night.
It was
a good match.
Tremendous match. There we go. Mr. Wrestling 2. Terry Gordy and the Great Kabuki. Loved Great Kabuki. I just, he didn't have the greatest matches in the world. I know,
but he had an appearance, and he had such a, I don't know, it was a mystique. And then they blow in the green mist. It's awesome.
Is that the first person, Jack, you saw do the green mist?
Yes, it was.
We were in Chattanooga one night. I'll never forget. The people were all waiting for him to come down. And that's the one time Gary Hart was with him. I don't think Gary Hart was always with him, but he was with them on that particular night. He gets in that Memorial Auditorium, comes off the stage there at the Memorial Auditorium, and people they're booing him and everything. He stops.
Surrounds him.
And they surround him, but he takes a turn, and he does that turn all the way around. And people just go both ways and run away because they're thinking, well, we're fixing to get the mist. Because did he not do the turnaround and then do the mist most of the time?
Normally, yeah.
That was the people knew that was fixing to happen. One night in the Omni, he does the thing. He spits the green stuff, and then he does another turn, spits red stuff out. The people went nuts in the Omni. I'll never forget that. The people went nuts. Gary Hart way before his time. I know Rodney said he invented wrestling, but there was some things he did invent. So he didn't invent the mist. I think it was his ideal to do that. So
Gary Hart was a very smart man, and if you watch they were when Gary was booking the San Antonio, Texas part, they had some really good stuff, really great stuff.
Here we go. This was the famous Wrestling 2.
Yes.
Rope tore up. If you go back and watch that tape, it is available on video. It's available on YouTube. If you go watch the tape, the poor kid that the Superstar grabs a hold and is just totally destroyed. It just destroyed him. He's sitting, he's crying. And now when I say a kid, I'm not saying he was 12 years old or nothing. I'm talking he was 20 years old, was crying over this. You remember that, Rodney? He was absolutely crying over it.
I'm not mistaken. I believe I was supposed to be picking up jackets on that day, and they switched me out.
Well, maybe they didn't,
because some shows, some towns. I mean, some days I am picking up jackets for the TV, and I believe I was supposed to be picking up jackets, and all of a sudden, Dad said, "No, you're not picking up. We're going to put somebody else over there."
That was probably a reason for that. He's afraid you might get that.
He was afraid I might attack him. Take the jet. Oh well, my case would be he'd come at me and I would run with the robe. Because if they come near me, I run.
Mr. Wrestling 2 with Robe and Shambles points fingers to the one-man superstar, and it was tremendous. He said, "You tear this Robe up, and the Omni, I'm going to tear you up." And that was the whole.
It did great, but that was the one that Barnett came back and said, "Oh no, we didn't do good tonight." Well, what are you talking about? It was great. We had a good house.
You got to watch them promoters. Place could be sold out. People sitting on the steps, and you could have done better.
And that was out of the blue, really, with 2 and Superstar.
Our father Ron West is the one that came up with the tearing up the Robe. It had been done before. It ain't like it was an original ideal, but he decided that would be good for. And I think there was a shackle match, wasn't he?
Yes, I think so.
That might be
in that Morocco got involved. Ron Fuller got involved. It was.
There we see Jimmy Garvin and Ron Bass.
Yeah.
Outlaw Ron Bass in this one. Michael Hayes and Buzz Sawyer in this program here. Wildfire after Superstar and Super Destroyer, and Bad Leroy Brown joins in.
Yeah.
Some good stuff, some good matches and stuff back then. All right, here is another card for the Omni, and I'm not for sure. I think this says Friday, January 1st down there. Maybe 1983. Maybe. I think that may be what that says. The first match was the Angel against Jimmy Garvin. Ron Bassett. I think it'd been 1982, wouldn't it, Ron? That would have been 1982. I bet that'd be January 1st, 1982. The Angel against Jim Garvin. Ron Bass against Jerry Oates. Kevin Sullivan against El Grande Apollo. Austin Idol against Big Red. Terry Gordy versus Stan Hansen. Texas Death Match. Buzz Sawyer versus Mr. Wrestling 2. Now, this occurred at another time to the Superstar in Wrestling 2 because did Buzz Sawyer not help him rip his robe off at one point?
Yes.
Didn't that happen? Terry Funk, National Tag Team Championship. Terry and Dory Funk Jr. against Bob and Brett Armstrong. I believe at this time Bob was booking.
Awesome match, by the way.
Yes, that was a great match. The Great Kabuki, managed by Playboy Gary Hart against Dick Slater. And I think the videos, the build up to this is on YouTube. The Assassin against Andre the Giant. If the Assassin loses by pinfall or submission, he will unmask. So in other words, they were going to get a disqualification out of that one. Might as well just tell people. Special challenge tag match: the Superstar and the Super Destroyer against Wildfire Tommy Rich and Bad Badly Red Brat. I'm not for sure the Omni did tremendous business that night, though. I think we were there, but I think I only remember Dory Funk Jr. against Bob and Brett Armstrong. I don't think I remember anything else about the card. There we see Mr. Excitement, Dick Slater, the Funk Brothers, Terry and Dory Funk Jr., the Universal Heartthrob Ostinato, Stan Hansen. And here we go. Robert Gibson against Jim Duggan. I always liked that little
movement.
That little finishing maneuver he used to do. What did he call that? There was a name for that move. It hadn't been used in 20 years, but Robert did that tremendously.
Yes.
It was a very that move needs to come back in wrestling, but maybe not. Maybe somebody will break it up.
I'll try to remember to call him tomorrow and ask him because he got his first granddaughter today.
So, whoa! Congratulations!
Call him anyway.
Yes.
By the way, Robert Gibson doesn't get a lot of respect as far as with the Rock and Roll Express, but go back and watch. Robert was very good. And he really deserves more respect than he gets as the Rock because he was very, very good. Go back and see him. I think at the time Ricky Morton just outshined a little bit, but man, he could work, and he was just tremendous, just golden. It was just golden.
And right there, that's the on the crew with the 1984 crew right there, Robert Gibson and Jim Duggan.
Yeah, Jim Duggan. He's beating Jim Duggan, our Jim Dugan. At that time, the announcer would always call him Jim Dugan. And he'd come out and have a fit and break stuff and throw stuff around. And my name is Duggan, D-U-G-G-A-M, not Dugan. Good stuff. He was getting over, too. Man, he was getting over. And then he just left.
I'll tell you what happened.
Oh, this is
Bill Watts saw him and brought him to Mid-South.
He was very good. Jim Duggan was very good. I think he came from before Jim Duggan went to Mid-South, did he end up in – I know he wrestled for Southeastern Championship Wrestling for a while for the Fullers. Was that after this or was it – I think it was before he came to Georgia because I think Bob Armstrong might have been the guy that brought Jim Duggan there.
He did.
Because I think he might have been wrestling in Southeastern. But Jim Duggan said he when he wrestled – he thought he was going to be called the Convict, and he put a big C on his mask, and people didn't even recognize that it was a C on his mask. He says, "What is that little thing on here?" He says, "It's C. I'm the Convict. I'm the C Convict." He said he eventually took that off because he got tired of explaining to people what that meant. Georgia Championship Wrestling undoubtedly was one of the great companies. I talked to someone one day and I said that Jim Barnett, while it was under Jim Barnett's control, the company was very successful. They would go through these, and every territory went through the roller coaster. You'd draw a little bit and you come down. But I'm not for sure back then it was done on purpose back then. It would level out because then they wanted to come back up. I think they wanted that roller coaster effect, so they didn't hot shot the territory and kill it. And I think today there's so much stuff in wrestling done from show to show to show, and every match has something going on that is a hot shot thing in wrestling. And I think back then they wanted it that way. They did not. They wanted to take a while, 4 or 5 or 6 weeks before they did some big angle again after they had just done something. And I think that's probably smart business for a long term wrestling company. And Jim Barnett was tremendous at doing that. Let's go now and see what we've got to say. By the way, folks, some of these things that we may talk about on here is probably from a live show that was done on August 23rd, 2021. We got a lot of people talking. We didn't even get through all the comments. We had so many people discussing.
In fact, if you go back and watch that show, you can hear this animal growling the whole time.
She was even upset over the whole situation. And I'm not for sure she's upset with me. I'm not for sure she's upset with Rodney. I don't know. Maybe even Jack. I'm not for sure. Maybe she didn't agree with Jack.
She's a CM Punk fan too. So
well, there you go. So, so she was mad at me or Rodney, one or the other, and she was very upset that we said something derogatory about him. All right, here we go. Let's see.
Blended right in with your shirt. We can barely see.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Aaron Gatlin. By the way, Aaron's got something he wants to talk about, and I think we need to do this on one show. And I didn't get back. I hadn't been able to get back with him, but he'd like to talk about it. He promoted a wrestling show, a reunion show in Dothan, Alabama. I can't remember now what year that was, but and I got to meet him very briefly. He was the promoter. He was one of the promoters, basically, him and some other guy. And he wants to talk about the experiences he had in promoting his show and what's the difference in what he found out about promoting wrestling. And we'll all compare because we've all promoted professionally and been a part of organizations of other people promote wrestling. So I think we'll do that next week on the Supporter Channel and maybe get his thoughts what he wants to talk about. Aaron did say, how would you rate CM showing up to Luger showing up at the mall? I was never a Lex Luger fan either. So what do you think, Jack? I mean, I'm looking at,
I can see the comparison. Of course, there was nowhere near the crowd. So, but it was a tremendous thing. I mean, it really was. But we also got to remember that he was coming pretty well fresh off WWF at the time. And he had not been successful.
No.
So I think, it's two different apples and oranges, really.
Yeah, he didn't really get over WWF at the time. Rodney, what do you think? You remember Luger?
They killed him off. You don't do a big build up like they did with Luger and then beat him. That killed him off deader than a doornail.
Did they beat him when he?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Well,
that was a huge.
I mean, I would have beat him too, but then I never would have pushed him. So
yeah, you don't make a big deal about the body slam thing, and then he comes off a helicopter, and you do that big build up just to beat him. I mean,
I think the title match was actually a count out, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah,
but that was the end of his push.
Yeah, he was gone.
And
I'm not mistaken, at the same show that Hogan came out and beat Yokozuna. Was that Caesar's Palace?
Yeah, that was WrestleMania.
Was it that
following? No, now Bret Hart was the champion. Yoko beat him, and then Hogan comes out and immediately gets a match.
That's right. I remember some
because Luger was on that show, but Luger was a heel. I think that was one of his first matches.
And prior to that show, Randy Savage busted Hogan right in the eye. So it finally came out that really did
boating accident.
That's what they said. Yeah, it was a boating accident. All right, the oar went right in his eye by Randy Savage. Let's see. Well, by the way, I don't think that Hogan did anything wrong. Randy was just crazy. That's just crazy. I'm not a Puck fan, but he got a great pop. Yes, he did. Yeah. Yes, he did. I was very impressed, by the way, and I could see the emotion, and I missed that in wrestling business, the emotion. Just checking in, fellows. Richard Hood, Terry Funk. He's talking about it. We showed a picture of him on our programs there. By the way, thank you, Mickey Mayfield, so much for those. We've got some more, too, that we're going to share. We'll probably share those on another episode because he sent us a ton of them. I mean, he had like 8 years worth of programs. Greatest of all time. I talked to him just a few days ago. Yeah, Terry Funk. He won an award, didn't he, just recently? Or they gave him an award?
Yeah, and I can't remember what that was for.
Michael Barr said, Rodney, you say things in the nicest way.
That's right.
And it's arguing your point as well.
Yeah.
Stuart Kemp said, I finally got it. I'm not for sure what he got.
He finally got in.
Got out. Jack has jokes tonight.
And I wasn't even kidding.
Michael Barr, Jack, not going to ask what kind of powder.
It was baby powder.
That's what they use when they throw things at people's eyes in the pro wrestling business. Baby powder. Sonny King was a boxer. Yeah, you know what? I was like, and Sonny was such a nice guy. He was such a nice man. I remember we were out in Pensacola. He had a lot of time off in Pensacola, by the way. We didn't work out. But we were there, and we were out. We lived on the bay of Pensacola, and we were flying a kite, and we wanted to see how high we could get this high. But we found out that a kite really don't go up. It just goes out. It don't really go up. So we just kept on tying these things off, going to the store, buying more. And Sonny was right there with us. Oh, come on out. Pull that thing up. Pull that up. Yeah, get that thing up there. Let's see how far we can get this thing. Well, finally, I guess the wind got too much and it broke.
It broke. And he said, well, that's the end of that.
Yeah. And then you looked at it and said, well, there's the finish. That was the finish. He said, kind of weak. It's kind of a weak finish. but
I don't know how many rolls of string we had tied to that thing, but
had a good time. Sonny was a great guy. We were in Pensacola, Florida one night, and they were booing. The fans were booing Sonny King. They were, hey, you go have yourself. I mean, they was just giving them down the road, shooting them birds, cussing them out, and Sonny was getting right back on them. He was on the stage, and he was getting right back on the whole bunch of them. There's about 30 or 40 just cussing him out. And Sonny, at the end of it, say, okay, guys, I'll see you next week. Okay, Sonny, we'll see you next week. They were working with him just like he was. Me and Rodney looked at each other and went, what? What was that about? So by the way, folks, when people tell you wrestling fans, all of them believed wrestling. No, they did not. No, they did not. People liked wrestling because it was done in a fashion that it was believable to people. And it's not that they went home and believed. Some did. Some did. Some people still do. So it didn't matter how many times a year. But it was a funny time. And I think that might have been the same night that Franklin Hayes, a.k.a. John Tatum, shot a bird in his first match and got fired first night. I think that might have been the same night. Didn't Sonny train Junkyard Dog? I don't think so. Because Junkyard Dog was trained up in like Ohio or something. And I don't think Sonny King was there at the time. So, no, I don't think so. I'm not for sure who trained Junkyard Dog. I don't know that we know that. Jack could have used the duct tape for your tire earlier. Jack, did you have a problem with your tire earlier?
Gosh, I did. It's an all-day process of getting a flat fixed. And I'm talking from 10 o'clock this morning until 5 o'clock this afternoon before I finally got it done.
Wow. Well, no wonder you were in a bad mood.
Well, I've got a good guy here in Cleveland will take care of that for you. 10 minutes and you're in and out. There's no problem there.
Well, when I say Jack was in a bad mood, I think it might have been me. I'm not for sure.
No, it was me. It's definitely me.
Showboat Sonny King. What they call him, Showboat Sonny King in Atlanta when he was in Georgia in the early 70s. I didn't know this. I learn something new every day. I did not know they called him Showboat Sonny King. Rick Brooks says, hello, insiders. Michael Barr, did many of the larger or smaller wrestlers make these programs? Yeah, I think everybody made a program back in those days. That's the way they made their money. They didn't really do a lot of T-shirts.
And we looked for them when we went in. Our dad would bring them home at night after certain shows. We'd go through his bag to get our program. But if we were there live at the show, we got us one.
And by the way,
what the maxes were.
Everything that I've got, the TV formats and all that kind of stuff, Dad would most of the time throw them in the garbage. I just went and got them out of the garbage and took them back to my room. Kept all that stuff. They'd probably got mad if they.
You're right. They'd been really mad.
They didn't know. What they didn't know didn't hurt them. But that stuff would have been gone. Nobody would have ever seen it. I'm the one that kept it. And years later, Dad said, where'd that stuff come from? I said, well, I used to take it when you throw it away. I take it out of the garbage and I take it back to my room. And he said, well, I didn't know that. But they probably would have got mad. Michael Barr, Rodney. I'm not one to get easily offended, but I'm coming out to get your belt. He's coming to the belt. He's going to, he's traveling a long way to get your belt.
That's right. Champion right there, it says.
I mean, from Dothan area to Lafayette, Georgia, that's a good, 7 hours?
And I'm telling you, Michael, he's still going to make you buy a ticket. I know him.
Even if you're coming to wrestle, you got to buy
a match. You're getting in the ring. The bell rings. Excuse me, sir, but can we see your ticket first?
That's right.
We get security.
Now, by the way, Brian says get in line. Michael says get in line. He's coming for that. He's coming for that title as well. Richard Hood said Gary Hart got the idea of kabuki mints from the ingredients his wife used in making cookies. Very interesting. I'd love to get that book. Man, I'd love to get his book. They say, though, that it's like gold at this point.
Yeah.
It costs more than gold. Michael Barr, did he not leave his book rights to anybody?
He's got kids. So you'd think they would capitalize on that because it would be huge. I mean, they could really make some money.
No boxing guy, thanks. I have my hill part down pat, and I was here and have to be waiting for a long time for that time. We all play the hill sometimes, Sometimes it's me, sometimes it's Rodney, sometimes it's Jack. We all have to play that part at some point while we're in the game of professional wrestling. Let's see, maybe so, Michael Barr, but there's a new hill in town, a bigger, better, more beautiful, so bad. They're cutting promos on people.
I'm telling
you. They will go ahead and use the new Fame promo thing. All right.
Hey, by the way, I'm looking on eBay. Gary Hart's book is only $475.
Wow.
Oh, man.
What a bargain.
I'll get right on that.
Well, there's another one down here. If you can't get those for $1,500.
Michael Barr also said, they said, Brent, you were right. Without great baby faces heels, there will be no wrestling. Leave out the shades of gray. I think we all agree that a show has to have bad guys. I mean, a movie's not going to be good if you ain't got no bad guys.
Yeah, that's one thing Cody Rhodes said here not too long ago that I totally disagreed with. And he said that everybody is in a gray area now. There's no such things as heels and babies. And you have to, that is one of the core. It's like the lockup never changes. Good against evil. That's the core of it.
That's the core of even a great movie.
Yeah.
And that's the reason that when we go back through the list of great rivalries, Cody Rhodes' name's not in one of them.
Hey, look,
That's
I know
serious.
my Star Wars obsession. I like Darth Vader, but I don't cheer for Darth Vader when the movie's playing.
And Darth Vader ain't real.
That's right.
But you get into it while you're watching it. It's the same thing with, I used to love Lost. 24, tremendous I knew Jack Bauer was the babyface. I knew he was. And I knew that almost everybody else was the heel on that thing. And then there were a couple other baby faces in that show, but you knew it. You knew who the good guys was. You knew the bad guys was. So you was rooting for Jack Bauer to kick some tail. I've been going back and watch those shows, by the way. Still tremendous to this day. Wrestling 2. Mass courtesy of Jerry Cherry. Poor old Jerry.
Mass gimmick. Whole career.
He was just not making anything. He was way off.
Tommy was sharing the baby powder at times, I
think. Yes, boxing guy, Brian the Barrett, and you're chatting with him. Man, they're doing the whole gaming on here. Look at that.
We're gonna have to sign y'all for the semi-main event.
That's right. Hey,
you still got to buy a ticket.
That's right. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't step back in the ring. I'm like CM Punk. I quit 20 years ago, and I'm not getting in the ring with you. I'm telling you right now. I'm going to hire people to wrestle.
If I was one or the other, I would watch each other's back, because when you go for the tag, I'm afraid they might not be anybody there for you to tag. Short arm tag. Whoops.
I think they might turn on each other.
Man, now, see, if you come after the three of us, I'm the only one that's going to stand there, because I'm the only one that can't run. I can't. I'm not. I don't want to fight, but I can't run.
Going to get heated here in a New York minute. Thank Brian. That's all cool. He also said maybe we should tag up and take on Brother West. I think we already did that. I think it came on there twice, didn't it? They need to eat and take more Wheaties. Yeah, I'll tell you what, my back is in such bad shape. You slam me once, I'm not getting up. I'm going to just be there.
I took a spear 2 years ago, and I'm still not over it.
Wow.
Hey, he said he may even let you carry his belt there, Michael. Michael Barr also said Ricky Gibson was a great back.
He was.
He was so good. I thought that Ricky and Robert were a great tag team. They came to Atlanta for a while, just a brief time. I mean, I don't think they was there maybe 3 or 4 weeks, but I thought they missed the boat with them. I thought they could draw a lot of money with them at the time, but they just didn't. They didn't stay. There was another Kabuki spelt different that worked in Detroit in the '60s. Forgot his real name. Yeah, he was the guy that he patterned the Great Kabuki over. Gary Carter actually brought him in. And one of the Texas, whether he's in San Antonio or whether he's in Dallas, and actually brought him in for a while and to get all the information from to create the Kabuki. But by the way, there was 2 of those, by the way, as well. So,
well, they had one in England also.
All right, let's. We're running out of time, so. Let's see. Michael Barr. Too many could have been good wrestlers. Were not given the right push. That's happened so many times.
Yeah.
So many.
Yeah, that's not just a WWE failure.
No, that happened. That's happened for years. I don't think Eric Watts got it.
No, I thought Eric was really good.
He just because his dad was Bill Watts, and but he was not a bad wrestler. He was a good wrestler. He had everything that it took, but he was never going to get the chance. He just wasn't. And both places he went, he wasn't going to get the chance. Because didn't he go to WWE as a Techno 2000?
Techno Team 2000. I mean, that was groomed for either failure or top notch, and top notch was not what they wanted.
Yeah, that was not the gimmick to have. I miss the old territory days, and Ron was the referee those territories. Oh, by the way, our father did not mind getting the heat. He would, the more the merrier. If he could get a fan to come in the ring and he could kick them, that was his.
True story.
Aaron said that the Magnificent Pedro was a promoter of that program. Yes, I know he was the promoter of that program. I believe, though, that you might have been the investor. I'm not for sure. I don't think Pedro had the money to do that. Maybe he did. Rick Brooks seen Sonny for the first time in '67. If you go back and watch older tapes of Sonny King, go back and look at those tapes in the 60s and the early 70s when he's wrestling for Jerry Jarrett back in the early 70s. Oh man, Sonny King could go. Jack, did you work Pensacola?
I didn't work the territories when they were running Pensacola, but I wrestled several times in Pensacola, Panama City, all through there.
Jack, Brent, and Rodney, just look back at the days when you and Ron West, along with all those old school pro wrestlers, traveled place, and I enjoy every moment of that. I enjoy it every moment. There was times, and we try to tell guys today, sometimes when you talk to them, enjoy the ride you're having.
Yeah.
Because eventually that ride will be over.
Yeah.
And enjoy it. Enjoy that time, because there is going to come a time it's not going to happen. And just be happy you're there. And when somebody tells you, hey, go out there and just do it. Just have a good time with it. Just have a good time with it. Because that's those days you'll be older and can't do it, and you'll be going, man, I wish I just had a good time doing what I was doing. And unless you can just win the lottery, then you might not care. Let's see. How do I sign for a ticket if I'm blindfolded?
Just give me your wallet. I'll take care of it.
Yeah, we'll take care of it. By the way, for you, it would take 2 tickets, one for each hand, to get in. Sure.
Ricky Gibson should have been world champion. Ricky was so good.
Yeah.
Oh, just tremendous. Who is the ref for the matches? Charlie Smith. He will not buy a ticket.
No.
Now, I'm pretty sure Charlie will probably try to get in touch with you and sell some gimmicks there.
That's right.
Let's see. Tiger Conway Jr. should have had a bigger push. I think I agree with that as well.
Yeah.
Jack, Brent, Rodney, thanks for the show, Pro Wrestling. I enjoy the great shows and chat about old school wrestling, and hopes this continues to grow. And that's what we're hoping as well. That's the reason we're going to do a original programming to see if we can grab more people's attention, and we think that people will like it because it'll be different. It'll be a different product, and I think people will enjoy it. It'll give them that old school feel that they've been missing. One day we'll look back and be curious as where the time went. Michael, you are certainly true. I did not think when I look back at 1989, really 1996, when we got out of wrestling business together, you don't think it. So many years have went by, and you wake up and you're 25 years later and you're going, man, where did the time go? So have fun. If you're a professional wrestler, have fun with what you're doing. Love the guys. Love the show, guys. Thanks so much. Can't wait to talk next Monday. Yes. Remember, Brian, I will write that down when I go, and Jack and Rodney will.
And I am going to do my best to try to finish the book too.
And we'll talk about the book, and we'll talk about some other stuff that he wants to talk about on the next show. All right, thank you guys so much. We certainly do appreciate it. Make sure you join us tomorrow night. I think tomorrow night we're going to look over this magazine right here that Daniel gave us. As you see, we've got Jack Briscoe on this one, superstar Billy Graham, the Sheik. I think that's Story Funk Jr., Bruno Sammartino, Pedro Morales. This is from 1973. 1973. We'll take a look at that. There's a very interesting article in here about a guy named Jay Graham. Jay Graham. He had one match in his career in professional wrestling. We'll look at that on the next video right here on Pro Wrestling Inside Now. Thank y'all so much, and we'll see everybody on the next episode of Pro Wrestling Inside Now.